So we have this thing where in our culture, we are critical of child abuse and we think it's wrong. Yet in divorce and custody battles, we do this and almost encourage men and women, and especially women in our culture, that we can do this, and then we don't call it child abuse. So let's define this really quick. If you hit a child and it affects them in any way that is adverse, it is abuse. If you put a child in a dangerous situation because of neglect that will cause harm to them, meaning you're using drugs while you're pregnant, or leave them to use drugs, or whatever it is, the drive around while on drugs, this is a form of child abuse. When we talk about things like parental alienation, when we talk about playing a child against a parent or replacing that parent with the new dad or the new mom or whatever, and you don't need your old mom, and we're going to change your last name, all these different things, most people consider that abuse. But here's something interesting. When we get to this PC culture attitude of divorce and custody advice, especially advice for men, it's like, open your heart, be free. And I agree with all those things. I think there's a value to them, but guys aren't going to listen to that. And it's a way different road for, men heal differently than women. It's just that simple. Let's allow that one. Okay. We don't always have to do the PC culture thing. So in this whole thing, we hear, just take the high road. The kids are most important. You need to suck it up and not do anything. And if she's being crazy, she's allowed to be crazy. And you just need to be the man. Be the man. Whatever this thing is. You hear it all the time if you're a guy going through this. And it's horrible. It's neglectful. It's completely unrealistic. And it's BS. So here's the thing. First off, women or men, nobody has the right to do anything that is going to hurt a child's mentality for the rest of their life and their relationships because they're hysterical, because they're emotional. Nobody gets a buy on that. How about that? Nobody, including you, if you're watching this. You need to up the standard of that. But women who freak out and pull the Marilyn Monroe famous quote that's tattooed on every borderline woman, which is, if you can't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, or something like this. No, this does not exist. If you are being your worst, you are treated like your worst. If you are doing something crazy, you need to be responsible for this. But then, men, I want to tell you, if this is happening, that doesn't mean you gossip online and think you accomplished something by commenting on this video or whatever it is. You need to start taking actions legally. You need to start taking the bull by the horns, and this is hard. And this doesn't mean that you bear down and you do it like you did it, how you made your success in your career or how you got through a certain class in school. You need to start doing this the legal way, and you can. I have tons of videos on that on YouTube. Go check them out. It's in the Direct Me link in my bio. And you can also join my communities, and we will help you through this. It is hard, and you need to be guided straight up. If it's not by me, it needs to be by someone else. So let's get back to this. We have this thing in our culture that says, if you are hysterical and you're a woman, or maybe even a man, you have this buy where you can do inappropriate behavior. You cannot. And this is where guys absolutely have to step it up with learning the legal game and how to stop women from this. They need to be legally stopped, and you can. But here's the thing. I was just talking to some attorneys that are in Travis County in Austin, Texas, and they were saying, oh no, man, we go for parental alienation. We go for that now, but we have to put it in front of the judge in the right way. And we can't just come in with what the moms and dads are telling us is what is alienated. Oh my God, he said this, she said that, da, da, da. Or, they're telling the child that their last name is different. It's no longer, in my case, Maeda. It would be whatever the mother of my children's name is that is in contention with me in this fabricated scenario. So we can't just go for that. We need to start looking at what is going to win our court cases. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we just wrapped up a call for my groups. And one of the things is that one of the guys went through the courts to get a court-ordered forensic psych evaluation on everybody, on them, on the family, on the children. Now, this might seem like a terrible idea, and it might seem like too much pressure, and it makes everybody go crazy. It's kind of like throwing a grenade in the water that this case is real. But hey, man, look, if your ex-partner is creating psychological trauma for your child, you need to do something to stop it. Now, the reason why we went with the forensic psych eval is because it's admissible in court. Almost all courts see it as evidence for something useful. You also need to make sure that you get the correct psych evaluation. You can't just go and get anything. You need to get one perhaps by a specific psychologist and a specific test. Might even be able to be done by a social worker or somebody who's an expert in this field. And many people are adverse to this, but man, this is what works. And we're actually going to have a call in about an hour to break down the data that we got from the different psych evals. In that, we're going to create a legal structure that will work much better in court than just witnesses that have hearsay information on whatever's happening. The other thing that you can do is start involving things like a guardian ad litem, a GAL, which is something which a lot of people fear and don't like. In Texas, they are free. In different states, there's all sorts of different requirements for them. Sometimes they're paid, sometimes it's volunteer, whatnot. Oftentimes GALs will work with social workers. It all depends on the flow and function of the court. But what's interesting about all of this is these people can all be somewhat problematic and perhaps annoying to your case. Why do I need them? But this is part of the language of the courts. You want this to work. Now, if you're a guy watching this, you're going, man, I can't handle a forensic psych eval. I might have some psychological issues, or I have, this and that going on in my life, and I don't want the GAL to see, or these types of things. Well, then look, this is a pretty easy recipe to clean stuff up. Believe it or not, the courts do want you to see your child. It's just their list of things that need to be done is much different than what might be considered common sense. So you might think time with your kids and these types of things and getting them what they want and teaching them lessons and life lessons are the important things in life and child custody. But the court is going to care about doctor's visits, things like smoke alarms. They're going to care about the legal checklist of what determines custody in their state and county. So in many ways, this is helpful for you to structure what is going to be necessary for you to win your case. Now, let's reverse back to this whole thing. Guys, what is the lesson here? The lesson here is that we cannot allow abuse for our kids. And if we really care for that, then guess what? We need to start learning how to battle in court and prevent our society influencing moms and dads to be abusive in their mentalities and their teachings and their ways that are going to affect their kids, our kids, for the rest of our lives. We need to also understand that if we're going to fight things in court, we need to learn the language of the courts. And this is fundamental for our work in progressing and not getting screwed over. If you're a dad that's watching that's frustrated and already lost, because this is a very, very common thing, look, get your life together. This is exactly what I did. I lost my kids in 2012. It was horrible. I was already coaching and working with men. It was just a terrible thing. What did I do? I fixed a lot in my life and made programs and courses like this that has now just helped thousands and thousands of guys. So I want you to understand that there's a solution to this. This solution is very difficult. It's not easy. It's not a quick fix. It is not how self-help sells things. And I would even go so far to say that every single problem of man and masculinity in our modern world also is very hard to fix and amend. Things like addiction, PTSD, the regular things that are talked about in my group, dating, loneliness, sex, sexual dysfunction, abuse, suppression of these things. Man, the list goes on of male problems and trauma in our modern world that everybody seems to cite and everybody has quick solutions for, like, I beat PTSD. Man, probably not. I really haven't seen that, and I've worked with a lot of people. But I'm very happy you have that t-shirt. It's just these fixes are not quick. They take a long time and they take community. And that is the point of my work and my groups for all these years. I do it every day. I make as many videos as I can to put out for the public, and I'm super dedicated to the people that I work with. That all being said, I want you to understand that these problems have solutions. You can solve them and man, get to work on them. But get to work with other people, unify on it. And there's so much I can say about the strength of man, but let's just leave it at that for this video. You guys have a good one.